Welcome to the deep dive into data storage and security.
Yeah, data storage and security. Very important.
Think of this deep dive as you're keeping your valuable digital information safe and sound.
That's right. We'll break down the essentials of data storage, explore the best practices for keeping your data backed up and secure, and equip you with practical tips to implement right away.
Because our data is like a treasure chest filled with everything from precious memories captured in photos to important documents, research projects, and so much more, wouldn't you want to protect that treasure from being lost or stolen?
Absolutely. And do you have an idea for doing just that?
Yeah, it all starts with understanding the different storage options available to you.
Because it seems like we're overwhelmed by so many options: portable devices, cloud storage services, network drives, and local storage on our computers. How do we even begin to navigate them?
Well, let's consider your individual needs.
Okay, sounds good.
For instance, if you prioritize portability and need to access your data from various locations, a portable device or a cloud storage service like OneDrive for Business might be a good fit.
Yeah, that makes sense.
However, if security is your paramount concern, local storage on your own computer coupled with a robust backup strategy could be a more suitable option.
Okay, so it's not a one-size-fits-all situation.
Exactly. It's about choosing the storage solution that aligns with your specific priorities. And that's where the storage option comparison chart can be really helpful. This chart lays out the pros and cons to consider when evaluating each storage option, such as cost, storage capacity, ease of use, and security features.
So we need to weigh the trade-offs. For example, cloud storage might offer incredible convenience and automatic backup.
Oh, yeah, that's a big advantage. As we're basically placing our data in the hands of a third party provider, it's crucial to understand their security practices and policies.
Okay, for sure, but what about keeping everything locally? It seems like that gives us more control.
That's right. Local storage offers greater control and potentially enhanced security, but it does require you to be proactive about data backup and protection.
Okay, so it's clear that choosing the right storage method is the first step, right?
Yes, when it comes to research data, our university IT services provide some storage options for you.
Wow, more options. But do you have practical tips in general? I mean, we've all heard horror stories about people losing precious files due to a hard drive crash or a stolen laptop.
Yeah, absolutely. That's where the 321 principle comes in. This principle is like a golden shield for your data. Okay, let's break down this principle. You should always have at least 3 copies of anything important.
Okay, 3 copies. It's surprisingly straightforward.
This includes your original file and 2 backup copies if possible. Now, here's the key: store these copies on at least 2 different types of media.
Okay, different media.
This could mean 1 copy on your own computer and another copy in the cloud.
I see. Avoid putting all our eggs in one basket.
Exactly. And finally, to complete the principle with at least 1 copy in a different geographical location from your primary data storage.
A different location? Okay.
This means that at least 1 copy should be stored off-site. Think of it as a safeguard against catastrophes like fires or floods that could destroy your local backups, so that an off-site copy could be in a room within your department building or even using a cloud storage service that geographically distributes your data.
Precisely, it's all about creating layers of protection for my valuable data.
Exactly. And remember, data should be stored in uncompressed and non proprietary or open formats for long term software readability.
But what do proprietary formats mean? And what about open formats?
Proprietary formats are software dependent and owned by a company that claims intellectual property rights for the use of the software by granting licenses. For example, MATFile is MATLab's own proprietary format. However, open formats are software independent and made available to the public without restrictions. For example, CSV format is open format.
Gotcha. Any other important things we should know about?
Copy or migrate your data files to new media every 2 to 5 years, since flash drives or hard drives are subject to physical degradation. Check the data integrity of stored data files at regular intervals. Organize and label stored data clearly so that they are easy to locate. If you have laboratory notebooks and field notes, create digital versions of them for long term preservation and storage.
These best practices act as a safety net, ready to support me when something goes wrong.
Exactly. Okay, so we've covered storage options and practical tips.
But what about keeping that data secure? It's not enough to just have backups. We need to make sure they're protected from unauthorized access.
Yeah, are you ready for some actionable advice?
Yes, of course.
First up, control access to rooms or buildings where data, computers, or media are held.
Yeah, I like that. It's about physical data security.
Exactly, and implement password protection of and controlled access to individual files.
Yeah, I have to admit, everyone in my research lab, even undergraduate interns, has been granted full access to folders on a shared drive in the past. It's just so much easier for everyone to access.
But that's a big no-no when it comes to sensitive personal data.
Yeah, it's definitely a risky habit if sensitive personal data is accidentally disclosed. It could cause severe consequences, such as personal harm and legal penalties.
Exactly.
But what about network security, for example, storing confidential data, such as those containing personal information on servers?
It's definitely something to be cautious about. In principle, you should not store confidential data on servers or computers connected to an external network, particularly servers that host internet services.
Okay, but how could I collect data through online surveys quickly and securely? You know, my research project involves human subjects.
Good question. Our university IT services has approved a list of services and tools for certain types of data. To address your question, it's safe to store sensitive data on Qualtrics or RedCap.
Gotcha. What are other tips for keeping computer systems and files secure?
Control access to restricted files and storage areas by encrypting them. Think of it as putting a digital lock on your most valuable data.
So even if someone got their hands on my laptop or broke into my cloud storage, they wouldn't be able to access the encrypted data without the decryption key.
That's right.
Now let's circle back to backups because I still have a question that puzzles me. How often should we back up our data?
That's a great question. The frequency of backups really depends on how often your data changes and how much risk you're willing to take. If you're working on important projects, frequent backups are essential.
So daily backups for critical data. For less critical data, weekly or even monthly backups might suffice.
Yeah, the key is to find a balance between convenience and risk mitigation. And thankfully, many cloud storage services offer automatic backups, which takes the hassle out of the process. But as we mentioned earlier, it's wise to be aware of the security implications of any cloud storage service you use. And remember, adhere to our university's IT security compliance for certain types of data.
So, Dropbox, Google Drive, and Apple iCloud may not be suitable for research data, right?
Precisely. Research data should be put in a university sponsored cloud service like OneDrive for Business.
Okay, we've covered a lot in this deep dive. I think it's time to wrap up.
Yeah, start by implementing the basics like 3-2-1 principle. As you become more comfortable, you can explore more advanced techniques like encryption. And remember, there's no one size fits all solution. The best approach is to assess your individual needs, understand the risk, and choose the strategies that align with your priorities.
That's a great point. Thanks for joining us.